Hey everybody, in this video we're going to be doing the Elecfreaks Microbit Starter Kit experiment number 4, the Photocell. So if you're like me and you have a car that sometimes when it gets dark out it can automatically turn the headlights on, your car has something in it called a photocell, or sometimes we have something called a photoresistor. So this photocell is this little white thing here, a little round thing that's clear that has a little dot in the center of it. In this case, when I cover it up, it shows an image on the screen. Now once again, the iPhone that I'm filming on doesn't always show the image, but that picture is going to be a heart once we make the experiment. When you wire this up, the 3 volt is wired up the same as the other experiments. So in column number 1, I've got the red wire running to the red rail. That runs all the way over here to the other red wire that goes down to the rail. And then on the red rail there, it runs all the way across to share the 3 volts. And then I also have a 3 volt wire coming off here off the red rail, and that's going over to column number 18, which is going to be the longer leg of the photocell. Down here in column 1, next to the G is the ground. I have my ground wire running to the blue rail. That blue rail runs all the way along the side, up here, and along the top. And then in my ground here, I've got a ground wire running from the blue rail to column number 15. That's going to run down to a 10K resistor. So these in your kit, these are going to be the blue resistors. If your kit happens to have all beige resistors or something like that, it'll be the resistor that has the red line on it. And that's going to run to the short leg of the photocell. Then below that, I've got another wire, and that's running from column number 2, which is hooked up to pin 0 on the microbit, and that runs over to column number 15 and aligns up with the shorter leg of that photocell. And just to show you that photocell, if I turn it over and pull it out, you can see it's got one longer leg, one shorter leg. Short legs are always negative. Long legs are always positive when we're dealing with electronics. All right, I'm gonna get that back in there. And you can see here, if I turn my light down, we should be able to see that heart show up on the screen there. And if I turn that back up, it works. And if I hit the button on the back to reset it, it'll calibrate for the current light value. So if I'm in a darker room, it can still work and calibrate itself. So let's go over to make code and let's see how we actually code this to make the photocell work. All right, I've got a brand new microbit project here. The first thing that I see in the diagram on page number 8 of the instructions is on start, it's going to set cal_val to analog read pin 0. So I'm going to make a variable here. I'm going to say make a variable, and I'm going to call that cal_val. That stands for calibration value. Once I do that, it creates this new block. I'm going to take that set block and drag it into the on start loop. And once again, in there it said analog pin read pin 0. So I have to go under advanced. I go down to pins. We're going to get that analog read pin 0, and we're going to drag that into the oval. And that looks like the same as what's on the page. Now, in their diagram, they put the forever loop below, so I'll just stick that down there. And now it has a set phoval. So that's going to be for the photocell value. So go back to variables, make a new variable. We're going to call this phoval. We're going to hit OK. And now I can take that once again and set the photoresistor value to analog read pin 0. So once again, same thing we did before, analog read pin 0, drop that in the oval. So on the start, it's going to get a calibration value for how bright the room is. Because it's reading an analog pin, the computer's returning a value, or receiving a value between 0 and 1023. Then on the forever loop, it's looking to see if the light has changed. And if it's changed, it's going to get a new value, once again, something between 0 and 1023. We're then going to need an if-else statement. That's under logic, and that's the second one down here, if-else. So I'm going to take that and drag that below the set. Now notice, it's got one of those hexagons here. So the hexagon shapes, when I've got that there, this one has a less than sign. So I'm going to go to my logic, look for my hexagon here with the less than sign, and drag that into the true box. Then on the left-hand side, it's got the variable phoval. So I'm going to go back to variables. I'm going to grab a phoval and drop that in the left oval. It has the less than sign, and then it's got this purple oval there. So the purple ones are the math ones here, and that one has a minus sign. So math, and find the one up here that has the minus sign, and drop that in the other oval. Then it's got the cal_val, so that was a variable. So there's my cal_val, that goes on the left-hand side. And in the manual, it says -2. I found -2 to be a bit too sensitive because even a small amount of light changed. So when I did this, I actually changed that to -20, and I felt it worked a lot better. But you could try out the -2. I'm going to make this version a -20. So if this is a true statement, then I want it to show me a heart on the screen. So I've got that there. Else, we want it to clear the screen. So under basic, clear screen, and that goes right there. I should then be able to download that to my microbit, and now I should have a working photocell. Good luck with experiment number 4.